So the Gen 5 MOS, I think Glock has finally listened to the people. They finally got rid of that stupid cutout on the front, which we're gonna address that in a second because I have the original Gen 5 here that has that original cutout. And we also have a magwell. So if you do have this first gen, this thing is a lifesaver. The best part is though, this magwell will also work on the new version as well. However, there is one big con to this and it may or may not be a con to you. But anyways, with all that being said, you know, we've already shot it. You saw the range footage. Let's dive up close. Let's take this bad boy apart. Let's show you what comes in the box. Then towards the end of the video, we're gonna talk about any types of possible modifications that I would do to this gun and knowing what I know now, if I would buy it or not. All right, guys, so here we are up close with my Gen 5 Glock 19 that I purchased a long time ago and the new Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS in all its glory. Just check the first link down in the description of this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, that will redirect you to where all the links and for all the products we're gonna be talking about. So the Glock 19 MOS, man, holy cow. I've been waiting on this for so long. Got the M-Force on there because I am gonna start carrying this one. But otherwise, this thing's 100% stock barrel, stock trigger, stock everything. We're also gonna take a look at how the MOS system works versus the FN 509 tactical system. And we're actually gonna install this Vortex Viper onto there so you can see how it works. But I'll just a little spoiler alert. The FN 509 tactical mounting system is far superior to any other modular optics handgun. What do they do different? Well, before we can talk about that, let's talk about the original Gen 5. Now, minus the sights, trigger, and mag release, this is a pretty much OEM Glock 19 Gen 5. Now, one thing you will notice is that front strap. It has that stupid cutout, which they said helps us yank magazines out if they get stuck, which we all know is a bunch of crap. But the downside to this wasn't even that. There was no lip on the front. And also these edges were really sharp. And right here, you can see when I go to squeeze it, my pinky I don't have any confidence in my grip like this. I mean, I can still shoot it and be accurate with it, but you feel like your pinky just starts coming off. Whereas with this one, not the case. It stays right on there, out of the way, and everything. Now, if you are one of those people who picked up one of these original ones like I did, you can get the ZevTech, I think this is the Compact Pro Magwell for Gen 5. It fits right on, just like this. It fills in that stupid cut in the front, and you just put a little screw back here. And as you can see, we now have confidence in our grip, as well as having a magwell. Downside to these is they don't work with my Barracuda mag extensions, and neither do their previous generations for Gen 3 or Gen 4. There's something about these that don't work with some mag extensions, but I can say with 100% certainty, they do in fact work with these Shield Arms mag extensions. I have a 5% off coupon code for these as well, but they make these for CZs and Glocks and what else they make them for? You know, Sig Sauers, all kinds of crazy stuff. I'll have a coupon link for you guys. Just check in the description. But 100% works flawlessly with these mag extensions. I've been using these actually in my concealed carry setup right here, so that works great. Interestingly enough, when I first got this magwell, I couldn't figure out why Zev didn't make like something to fill in that gap on the inside. Work with the new front strap. Now we still got to bolt it down and stuff, but works like a charm, and it still will seat the mags just like that. If that's something you want, you know, I mean, this one doesn't need a magwell, but magwells always improve my grip, so I might throw it on there anyway. So the big difference is between these and the standard Gen 5, let's just pretend there's no modular optics, is they did fix that stupid front strap, way to go, and they added front serrations, which are identical to the rear serrations. And then they added the modular optics system. Aside from that, they're pretty much identical. Now you can get the MOS, I believe, in Glock 19, Glock 17, and Glock 34, all of which can be had for a really good price from where I got this at Big Daddy Unlimited at dealer cost. Triggers on Gen 5s have already been improved. If you didn't see my original Gen 5 video, the triggers are actually really good. Now this one's got a couple of hundred rounds through it. It's not 100% broken in, but nevertheless, it's broken in enough. Let's do a quick pull weight test. I'm gonna have to hold this gauge just a little bit to keep it from slipping. So OEM, getting about a 4.5 pound pull. Pulled it towards the bottom of the trigger shoe where I typically pull it. The higher up on the trigger shoe you pull, the heavier it's gonna be. It's kind of like the laws of leverage. But when I put my finger in, I'm pulling at the bottom. Most of my pressure is down there. Now I do have this upgraded trigger right here, an upgraded mag release. If these are something you wanna get for your Gen 5 or Gen 4, I'd highly recommend them. This is a Tactical Pontoon trigger and Tyrant CNC mag release. This trigger, actually, I'm not even using the connector that I'm supposed to use with it because I accidentally broke the connector, being stupid and playing with it. That one pulled right at 4 pounds. That's a good carry weight for me. Now this one has a lot of going on with it. You know, it's at the wall, break, reset, break. You know, there's no take up whatsoever. But anyways, let's talk about what comes in the box with the Gen 5. In the Gen 5, you're gonna get 3 magazines. One of them, I actually have my carry ammo in. Hornady Critical Defense is what I carry with, in case you were wondering. But that's one of the mags that comes with it. You get 2 other mags, you know, you get your loaders, all the typical stuff that a Glock comes with. 3 mags, loader, lock, brushes, all that crazy stuff. Get that out of the way. But that's the best part. You get this modular optics plate system. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of a comparison and contrast on the 509 Tactical on the way this one works. And we're gonna take this red dot off and put it onto this one. So you see that little O-ring right there, right? It sits down in a little recessed area for that O-ring. Set this to the side. And then it pushes up on this recessed area, putting upward pressure. And that creates a little bit of torque on these bolts here. And that allows it to not need any Loctite, which, like I said, it's super ingenious. I don't know why anyone hasn't thought of it before. On my Vortex Viper here, I've done a review on this like 2 years ago. This thing has actually held up quite well. Back in the day, they didn't have ceiling plates for them, so I've been running duct tape on the bottom. All right, so let's see which one of these. In the package here, you're gonna get a multitude of different plates, some screws, and a wrench. Let's see which plate we need to use. I don't know which plate it is that we're gonna have to use. I guess it's just trial and error. Okay, so one thing I don't like about this, there's literally no instructions. The FN 509 comes with a shitload of instructions on everything you need to know on how to mount which optic. This one's just figure it out, dude. Trial and error. So that's kind of a bummer. I mean, it's not that difficult to figure out, but I digress. All right, behold, the Vortex Viper, we got it installed. I went through that entire painstaking process for one specific reason. Glock, you need to include stupid instructions with your stuff because your competition is including beautiful diagrams to help them with the thing. Yeah, I could have Googled it, right? And looked it up online, but I kind of wanted to go through that to kind of give you guys a real world expectations of what it might be like to try to install one of these optics. Now let's turn the optic on. Now it's obviously not going to be zeroed, but there it is. It looks huge because of the camera. The other thing is you're gonna have to get some suppressor height sights so you can co-witness in case your red dot goes out. And speaking of sights, something you really need to be aware of. So you see these sights? You see where the dovetail is cut on the standard Gen 5 right here? Notice how that dovetail is further forwards. Whereas on this one, it's further backwards. So if you get any of these types of sights that have a rear overhang, it's gonna dangle off the rear of this. So Trijicon HDs and all that stuff, they're not really gonna work like they're supposed to on here. It will hang off the back a little bit. So that shouldn't be an issue because I am gonna get suppressor height sights to run with this, and none of those typically hang off the end. I will say this, and we are gonna be doing a part 2 to this where we test different optics on here. You know, this one and the 509 Tactical will be my go-to handguns as far as testing different types of optics out. But let's jump up top real quick. Let's talk about my final thoughts of this, whether or not I think it's worth the money, and we'll talk more about where to get the accessories and everything. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you, knowing what I know now, would I still buy it? So back up top. So there it is, guys, in all its glory, the Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS. You know, I will say it's really funny. I am just super accurate with Glocks in general. You know, I never planned to be like a Glock fanboy, quote unquote. When I first got into guns, I went to the range and I rented about 7 or 8 different handguns. You know, Springfield XDMs, M&Ps, all kinds of crazy stuff. And it just happened to be the gun that I was the most comfortable with, as well as the most accurate with on paper. And back then, I didn't even know the fundamentals of a proper grip. Once I started learning the fundamentals of proper grip, proper sight alignment, proper trigger pull, it just got even better for me. And even to this day, I'm just more accurate with a Glock 19 than I am with a Glock 17 or any other Glock, except for the 26. Sometimes that 26 will surprise me. So I will say all that to say this. I feel your pain if you bought the original Gen 5 Glock 19 and you're pissed off about this front strap right here being cut out, because it really does affect the confidence you have in this grip. Watch my pinky. So I'm not squeezing it yet. Now, see how like my pinky starts to fall off? In addition to that, the edges of the half moon right here really cut into your fingers. So that is something that's no go. I mean, you could take some sandpaper or a file to that, but we shouldn't have to, right? The Zev Magwell, I will have a link for these. I will put a link down in the description where you can pick these guys up. You know, they just literally, it just pops right on just like that. And there's a little bolt that goes into the back and you put it in with an Allen wrench and it makes a huge difference. It no longer feels like your pinky's gonna fall off, which is huge for, you know, being accurate and stuff. So with the new version with no magwell on it, you can see right here, I squeeze it, my pinky does not shift downwards. That front lip does a very good job at actually holding my fingers on the grip. You know, what's interesting about this Glock is they pretty much taken away. Now you can still do a lot of custom work on this gun. Don't get me wrong. You could still send off the slide and get it customized if you wanted to, maybe get a top window right here on the top. You could still get this grip stippled if you wanted to. You can also change the trigger, but I'm just gonna be really honest with you. I mean, you saw the range footage, you know, 45, 50-ish feet. I was hitting that steel popper one after the other with just the standard iron sights that come with the OEM Glocks. Well, not iron, but plastic sights. And I think a lot of that though is due to the redesign of this rear bucket right here. But I'll just say this, I honestly feel that they finally came out with the perfect Glock, at least for me. Maybe not for you, but the trigger is really not bad. You know, when the original Gen 5s, they definitely improved the trigger, but then they messed up and put that stupid half moon in there. Front serrations are amazing. Super easy to press check. No issues there. So I have nothing but great things to say about this. It's super easy for me to press out, get my sight alignment, hit the trigger, and go to town. That's why I have my M-Force light on it, because I'm actually been carrying this gun. I'm so comfortable with it and so proficient with it without an RMR, without any modifications, that I can actually carry this gun. I just feel great with it. Now with the Gen 3s, I never felt that great with them because I didn't like the texturing of the grip. If my hands were sweaty, they would slip around. Gen 4 was a lot better, but this, it just takes the cake. I say all that to say this. If you're in the market for a new gun and you're thinking of Glock, definitely go with this one. If you're dead set on getting a Glock, and then maybe in the future you're like, man, maybe I would like to put a red dot optic on it, then hey, this is the way to go. I think this would be the perfect first handgun for anyone. And because it has all the abilities to have future upgrades later, which we'll be doing to this one. I'm gonna order another Trijicon RMR. I'm gonna get some suppressor height sights to put on here. But overall, I mean, it's a Glock that has all the perfect features. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. But right now, I'm carrying it in my Tier 1 concealed holster. I've done a video on this holster in the past. Let me know, guys, what do you think of the Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS? Do you think it's the perfect Glock? You know, or do you just prefer the Gen 3s, or do you prefer the Gen 4 MOS? Either way, I would love to hear you guys' feedback. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already. I really do appreciate every single one of you. And until next time, guys, you stay sexy, and I love you.